Gonna start doing some live trading videos at night. So that means every single day you can get a live trading video. Just because I feel when I do my own trading, I don't really say much. I kind of just trade, say everything in my head. So I'd rather just do it here at night. But the whole base of this trade here is we close this low here. So we're kind of up to the order block now. We're getting in off of it. We missed the open. Well, sorry, the midpoint. But we just, like I say, if you have your stop loss in the same position, who cares what you're getting? You just need to make sure you're getting those trades. So we have gone for the low of the order block. And what we're going to do in these videos is we're just going to target what I tell you to target. So it's 1R, sorry, that's not 1R because it's here. So 1R would be down to here. Or I would just do my 2R. But I think for the video we'll just do 1R each time. I don't know why this is not moving. Okay, and then I'm just going to be talking about what I'd be thinking in this trade. So far, there's not really too much to say in a negative sense. We close this low on the 15-second. Expect a pullback. So this pullback right here is completely fine. What I don't want to see is us use this range here as anything, because this range should just be broken above just to get to where we need it to get to. Which is kind of what happened here if we can break below. So our first target here, in my opinion, is going to be this low here, not this low. This is just a further away low. We can break that low, we can start thinking about getting down to our target here, which is going to be the order block kind of. So what we can do here as well, we can move it 1 or 2 ticks further down, lock up a bit more than 1R, just because, you know, we're at the order block at that point. It's probably going to go a few ticks deeper. It doesn't ever test to the T and go down really, or go up. Couple more ticks in there. So that brings it up to the 1.06. Can I say anything about this trade so far? No, nothing wrong with it. Getting a pull up like we're doing right now is completely fine. You can't expect your trades just to go straight down. If there's no reason to break even, you can't break even. It's as simple as that. If you're going to keep break even in when it goes back up, if you keep break even in just because it's gone down, you're going to get so many break even trades. You're never going to get winning trades. I had to find it out the hard way. It took me years to find it out. But yeah, I mean, this is if it doesn't test into anything, why do we need to break even? Once it tests into things, we can break even. It also goes for where you are in the trade, where we've entered here. I wouldn't break even for where I would probably be entered here. So for example, if I was entered here and we tested this now, I'd be break even. Probably already would have been break even anyway, because we could be holding aggressively off this high of the range below that brought us up in to the testing of that 5 minute range, which we're inside of right now. But because we're in here, I can't break even now. I can't break even because we tested it. It goes up a couple of ticks, I'm out of trade. What's the point of entering if you're going to do that? We need to wait, we need to be patient, and we need to make logical decisions. And in my opinion, right now, the most logical thing I could possibly do is potentially just go for a break even here, because we're looking on the 15-second, close the range, close this range, clearly trying to cycle up. We didn't close what we wanted to close. We're creating higher lows as we go, higher highs. We'd be lucky for this to go down now, but because there's nowhere to trail, and generally you can't break even just because it looks like it's going to fail. Because do you know how many trades I used to lose back in the day where I would move this here, just settle for break even if I can. Best case scenario, it comes back. Do you know how many trades I would do that on? It would come down, get me out, and just go in my direction. You just have to be okay with the loss. You just have to be okay with it, because you're going to miss so many good trades by doing that. So, back on the 15-second now. Closed. Doesn't look good at all. It does not look good. But it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's just white noise. What I used to do is I used to just get in a trade and leave. Now, because I break even, I can't do that. So what I do now is once I move to break even, once I can, I just move my screen all the way down here, and then I will do something else. Whatever happens, happens. And then I'll come check in a couple of minutes time just to see if I can trade on the profits or whatnot. That's what I do. It just stops me from fidgeting, doing stuff that I'm not really wanting to do in hindsight, just doing it because there's emotion behind it. For example, like just moving to break even just because I'm scared of losing or something, you know. Move that back down. Still not really much of a reason to think we're going to get stopped out here at all. We just have to weigh it out. Something I would do now though is if we can break this, I would try to here now. It eliminates a bit of the loss that we might take if it does come back. Just because we're closing this low, well, that's the high for this low. We shouldn't really get any higher than that. That's where I would trail it. I would actually trail it now if we close on the 15-second, which we already have, because if we don't close it on the 1 minute, it can sweep and go higher. But there's a lot of scenarios where it doesn't close, looks like a sweep, and then the next candle close. So if I break even, then it could just get me out for break even and then close in the next candle. For example, the lows here, right? So there's scenarios where it sweeps like so. It looks like that, right? And then this candle comes a bit higher and then goes down. Now I would break even because of how far down we've gone. These days I just do 1 tick into profit for me personally, because 1 tick covers for every single loss, all the fees. I know for 1 mini it would be 2 ticks. I think 1 mini is about 78 cents. But because it's 78 cents, who cares about 78 cents? I would just leave it at break even, not try and cover for fees. Because sometimes a win and a loss, a win and a break even can come down to, you know, trailing for a couple of ticks into profit. It could come up, tag you out, go in your direction. So because you know the loss is quite small, I'll just leave it at break even. But anyway, yeah, I think that was a good trade. Like I said, there was generally no reason to break even now. If you are break even, you're just panicking. You care too much about losing. You can't expect every single trade just to go down in 3 to 4 candles. It does happen quite often, obviously, but you can't expect it to happen every single trade at all. And I do also know I'm telling you to put your stop loss at the next high. That's something I just forgot about recording this, because I'm obviously so used to trading myself. But I think in a scenario like this where the stop loss is so big and you do have to break the whole entire move just to get 1R, I don't really think that's a wise stop loss. I think here is fine, in my opinion. Also as well, if we was a bit deeper here, we could have done 2 contracts, and that means it would only have to go to here, right? Let's see if I would have got 2R anyway in this, because I think I would have. Yeah, so 2R would have been taken there as well. And what would I do now? I would look for a continuation short once we close this on a 5 minute. I don't want to sweep into these levels. I don't want these to be swept. If these get swept, then I'll be very skeptical on taking shorts up here, right? Because if we're sweeping this side, we can break above this side. We can only assume right now though we're going down, right? Closed, 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 closed. Same pattern every single time. You could have taken short, 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 and short if this closes. So easy trading is. And what happens every single time? You know, if you had your stop loss at the previous higher, this is the thing about a downwards market or a higher market, is it shouldn't take out that previous high or that previous low if you are going to continue in that direction. That's why putting your stop loss above the previous high and your stop loss below the previous low is such a good idea, because we should just have that ladder in sequence, right? It goes like this, vice versa for when you're going up. It shouldn't tap that previous low. Scenarios where it does, obviously a lot of the times it can obviously go into it, but you just have to be okay with that, because you can't win every single time. Would be nice to win every single time, but I don't even get close to winning every single time. My win rate's like about 80%, 81% these days, because I don't have such a small stop loss anymore, where I break even in a couple of seconds. But anyway, what would I be looking at? Like I said, I wanted this to close, not do this, but with the way this candle looks, it looks like we're just creating a pullback to go lower. I'm looking at the 1 minute time frame and I've realized we've closed it here. So what I would do is I won't take a trade up here, because if we get back up there, this could be a sweep. What I will do is, if we close this low and we come back up to this range, and then I'll take a trade there, because if we've still not closed this level and the candle hasn't closed yet and we're coming back up, I can take that with the idea of breaking this on the 5 minute. We could also, if we did think that, and we don't want it to trade up, we could just get in here with our stop loss all the way up here and target here, right? That's the thing. If you're so confident in a trade, get in it and have the right stop loss, and it should work out if you're right on direction. Don't have these stupid stop losses where if it tests into anything, you're gone. You're stopped out. Like these ones, right? The previous low is already gone, right? For example, if you go for a long, having it there is so stupid, because it could come down a couple of ticks and go higher. We need it below that previous low. So in this scenario, it'd be here. If we thought we was going to go for a short, because it's going to compensate for maybe spiking the range and then going higher. Because that's the thing, we shouldn't take out those lows if we're going to continue that direction. But when it does spike it, it's obviously going to be a range spike. Range spikes, spike a range, close above the other side. So it just means that trade just becomes a lot more likely to win, because now you've spiked it, meaning you should get above the high. So to compensate for those losses, that's why I'm saying to have it above the previous one. But anyway, maybe we come up, trade into this gap, leaves no real reason to remain in this upper part of the range until we close this. Once we close this, then we can come back up if it wants to. Right. So I do think this is a pretty good move in my opinion. What would have made me get in this trade, just here, we're holding below that daily. These days I don't really care what high time frame levels are doing. I'm just looking at, are we above it or below it. I'm not doing much with them, as in we have to look back here and go like, why do I care so much if we're holding off of a daily? If look how many times it goes under, comes up, goes under, comes up, doesn't look like it's doing much, right? I'm just kind of looking to see if we're staying below that or we're staying above it, depending on where I think direction is going to be on the day. For example, if I think it's up, I don't want to be under it. I want to be above it because I want to keep taking longs. If I want to take shorts, I just want to stay below it, right? We don't want to really get above it, because if we're getting above it, that means we're going to do PDR up to the next level, meaning PDR from this level to this level. If we're holding above it, then that means we're going to come up to the PDR. If we're holding above that, we're going to go up here. So I'm really looking at high time frame levels. I'm just using the setup on every single trade. I'm not really caring about these levels these days. It just comes with experience. You still can. Obviously still have them on my screen all the time. But I'm kind of just using them as a, you know, just to have an idea of what's happening. But yeah, so what would have made me get into this trade here is if we tested into this gap. If we tested into this gap, I would have been so fine with taking this, because like I said, I want this to close. But the same thing, if we don't close this in a minute and it remains around here, well, let's be honest, this type of candle looks like the next one's going to be down as well. You can just visually see that. Meaning, we're that close to the low, we still haven't taken it out in the 5 minute. And then if it was to close that, and that same 5 minute candle come up to here, create something like that, getting off of that, order block that gets created, and I'd have my stop loss up here. Not up here anymore, because we've created a new range. This is the previous high. In this scenario, if I was trying to get into this, this is the previous high. Alright, every time a new range gets created, the previous high is going to be the range before that. That's what previous means, if you didn't already know. No shit, Sherlock. Okay. I'm not taking that as low. Not even tested it. No reason to think that we failed and we're going to go higher yet. Meaning we could look at these 15-minute ranges and say, okay, well, this should hold and it should bring us down to here. We've not tested this yet. There's no reason to flip at all. The only thing we can really say if this does flip is, look at this order block. Are we holding above the midpoint? We are holding above the midpoint. Holding above the midpoint, there's still a likelihood that we can hold this, break this, get into this, spike this range to break this low. So essentially what I'm saying here is, if we move up, I don't care. I think this is better. It would be a better look for a short. Holding this, coming up to here, spiking this, so failing to get above, moving into this gap, so no reason to go higher anymore. Spiking it, if we're spiking it, we're breaking the bottom, so we can take the order block that's created, and we take that down to the low. Or we get a move like so. If it does the same thing I was kind of talking about here, about trading into this gap, or this just traded into here. So this becomes a good attempt. Taking that down for 1R, which is essentially your target. It's the type of trade I would do, because it's 15-second range. Close this, should come up to here. We've not tested the level that we need to test before it makes a decision. This becomes an okay attempt. It's not too low. The thing is, I've completely forgot again, you haven't hit above the previous high. So, to be honest, I would have to get to here for that to be 1R. Alright, you see how more comfortable it is from having your stop loss from here to then having it here, having it above the previous one instead. Because right now, you would be so stressed out because it's coming up, it looks like it's going to break you out. Well, up here you don't really have that stress because you've still got so much room to do whatever. It could come up to here, it could spike this range and then close this range and get to your target. But if that was your stop loss, it would spike you out and then go down. This is actually a pretty okay market, really. It's pretty slow, but the candles don't look too bad, I'll say. Target's still here, right? What's the 5 minute looking like? Does this look like it's going to go up? No. Why do I think... Why do I just say that by looking at a candle? Because you can just tell. Immediate rebalance as well. I can be wrong, of course I can, but just go off experience. You've been trading long enough to know what a pattern looks like. Just hop back onto the 15 second. Just take a look. Should I be stressed if I was in a trade right now? No. Why? Well, we closed a 15-second low, equal lows, but you know you have a pullback here. I know you guys don't look at any 5-second time frame or something, but you know sometimes I look at this. Right now I wouldn't because the time's so late that the candle's going to look ugly. But sometimes I look at 5 seconds just to confirm what I'm thinking on a 15 second. What I'm thinking on a 15 second right now is we close this low, we can come up to here, meaning we can hold this. This can be used to break this. Right now, if I was in a short, I would be completely fine with what's going on. Even if I was in a negative. Because it needs to do this before it tries to go down. So why should I care if it's hovering around here? Now this is the first point where the candles actually do look ugly. These type of candles. We've had quite good candles since I've started recording this. Now we've got this ugly little range. Still think it's a good one though. Wouldn't say there's anything wrong with it. We can have that pull up. And even if we was to lose it, it's come up to we're not actually in a trade anyway. So we're not actually taking a loss. The idea was just wrong. But it just goes back to what I was saying about, well, just the same thing again, just sweeping this, not breaking it, coming down to here, and now breaking this on a 5 minute time frame. Just have a look at this time frame. What does this look like? It could be setting up. Look, you have to look here. It's the same thing. You can fail to break it, move up to the range. If you're holding it like so, and you didn't close it, and you're basically saying this is no longer a sweep, because if we sweep this side, we should break this side, and it doesn't, it's going to move down in an aggressive way, and it does do it here. A lot of times when you have this like opposing coloured candle, just one on its own, it doesn't really do much. It just pulls your leg, it teases you, it makes you think you're going to lose, and then the next one just remains black. I call it a breather candle, where it kind of takes a breath, it kind of takes a break of moving that direction to then continue. But I just want to go back to what I said, right? Imagine how stressed you would be sitting in this. Stop loss here. You know, any second now, you can just get stopped out, and it can sweep you out, and then go in your direction. If that was my stop loss, and this is a scenario where I would actually settle for break even, because I'd rather be in a better position. I would drop contracts, because if I was doing 3.5 and I was risking $25, I could probably do 3 contracts. Instead, what I would do is now I'd readjust my position once I can, if it looks good to do so. In this scenario, it's still okay because we have not broke this high. I would readjust my position if this remains a euro block. And now I'd have my stop loss up here. I'd do something like so. But I want to see something on the 15-second before I make any assumptions. What I'd be looking at is closing these lows. We can close these lows, and it fails to move above this high. Can have a pull back, and it can take us down. Just like so, we're going to see if we would have taken something like this, would we have just got swept out? Because the thing is as well, you have to realise, this gets you out and just move straight into the bearish order block and the gap to then go down. So something I would do here is I would do something like this. A trade like this, and then we take that down for 1 hour. So we'd go here. Right, because we had that sweep up, we should break down. I don't want my stop loss all the way up here. I want it down, and then we're just targeting that 1 hour. It's going to be here. Did we close that? We didn't. That's something we should have waited for. I'm just trying to just get into any trade really, just to show you. Test into that gap. Anyway, the whole gap's here, so I'll just compensate for both of those. Still haven't tested into that order block yet, so we can test into it and then push down. That's also another thing. Go into the 5 minute. This is the good thing about our stop loss, is it can hold off of this 5 minute and then go down. Got quite a lot of levels on our screen now. It's starting to look pretty ugly. Gonna take this off the screen. We know that's the 5 minute low, so we don't really need to look at this low. This is the low we should care about, because this is the 5 minute low. We need to get it down to that. So now we've tapped in to that order block. Now I'm feeling a lot more confident about our position moving down. Something I would have liked to do if I was trading personally is waited for it to test in. And then Stripe's got the midpoint the moment it tests. And then taking it down to the for me obviously 2R. You could like 1R is just here, just to that. First live I got put in. This is just the power of having the bigger stop losses. You just feel a lot more comfortable in it. You can allow it to do its thing, take the right trades, and then just get in. No reason to think we're going higher. We failed the higher. Failed the higher. It's looking pretty good to move lower. When I'd be looking at this here, where I was talking about having that other trade, about having your stop loss here was a stupid idea. This is the high I'm looking at. We close this high, and this is actually a scenario where I would just try and settle to see if I could get break even. So if we're failing that high and breaking up, I'm most likely going to go higher. Anything to say right now? Well, not really. Just working out in our favour. If we can close this low here, that would be nice. Close this low, activates the order block that we got in off of. Retest it again, potentially come a bit higher. Come down to these lows, hopefully come down to here. When would I break even? In my opinion, when we get to here. Because if we're spiking it, we can break it. Say it doesn't mean because we spiked the side it's going to just immediately do that. This is something I don't like the look of, by the way, just to quickly change that subject. Failing to close it and having such an aggressive move higher. I'll jump down on the 15 second and see if it's still okay. Yes, it is still okay. We closed the low on the 15 second. Okay, I'm not too worried. I wouldn't be too worried. I want to say as well is I would be out of this trade as well if I was in at the midpoint of this order block, because once we get here, this is the first target for how aggressive our trade is. I'd be break even, because if we start failing this, we're going to come higher, because we entered a lot lower. We can't really, we need to give it more room. Once we close this, if we do, I would move this break even. Not not 2 ticks down to make sure we compensate for fees or anything. You know, not try and lock up something. No, just lock up break even. Why risk it just for $1, sorry. Still doesn't look too bad. I'd say the 5 minutes seem better days. Something. So, close this, break even. Or even just try and limit how much you would lose. Not by moving your stop loss, by moving your take profit. Because you still want to give it the attempts to go lower. To try and get you out for less, instead of just moving this down and, you know. I mean, do what you want, but what I do is I personally, I'll move my take profit to, like, let's say I wanted to get here for just to lose $1 if I can. For example, what I would do is, if we was to close this or something at the order box here, I would just go, okay, well, this is the next long, so why don't I put my take profit at -$4. In this scenario where the order block is here, if we don't close this yet, we've still not closed it. Okay, in this scenario, I'd now just put my finger right here. Now I lose $2.50 if it wants to come back down. Because this is the next trade, really, if we're going to go higher. And it does go higher. So what do I do now? I still look for a short. We unfortunately got a choppy range, didn't go anywhere at all. Would it be a trade I would have taken again? Yeah, I would say so. I don't think it was the worst idea going with what happened. You had a good stop loss. We just failed this. Only reason I tried that is because I still wanted to close it. So I didn't want to go higher. Unfortunately, it did. So we took a loss there. We're still up a bit. We're still up $1.50. But what was I talking about here? I was talking about coming into this gap. we closed that. So if direction is going to flip, which does look likely right now, just because we did end up failing. We did up failing. We did up. I don't know why I can't speak. We did fail to move down and close this low. If we close it, we failed that low. Come up to here. So what can we look at? We could either look at one last short down to this range, or we can just wait for the long. What would I do? I'd wait for the short right now, because nothing's saying we can't. I'd wait for the long, because nothing's saying we can't hold aggressively off this high and go higher. Okay, I'm back now. Just left after that last trade, just to allow it to do some, just to move a bit more, make a couple more ranges. Now it looks like we can go higher. What am I looking at? I'm looking at the 5 minute. Felt the low. It does look like we're on set to break that high now. So what we can start looking for is those longs. I wish I didn't walk away, because we've got a good trade here to go higher. That would have been a nice trade. Maybe we have a pullback here into this range and then go higher. So, is this worth it? If we have a stop loss here, down to the order block, it's almost worth it. Can we stretch it down to make it worth it? What I'm looking at here is a short down to our level before going higher. Not tested into that yet. Go for the midpoint, which is here. Midpoint's here. Try and take that down for 1R, which is here. So we're looking at this range as something that could just flip us. Only reason I don't think that's going to happen, and this is just not going to hold, is because that 5 minute already attempted to hold. The 5 minute being here just above that daily level, which was here, attempted to hold, failed. This is no longer the order block. If this does move down, this is. Where are we with this level? We're not past the midpoint yet. So every time this moves up, it makes the trade a lot more worth it if it does go down. Looking on the 15-second, I will not be taking this trade. We have a range here. We can test into it and go higher. So I'd wait for this to go, maybe pull back and go lower, and then I'd get in once we close this. Looking on a 15 minute. Okay. On the 15 minute, what does this look like? Well, that 5 minute range doesn't even mean anything on the 15 minute time frame. It's not even the 15 minute low. This is the 15 minute low. So all this white noise inside doesn't mean anything. We have a high and a low. So we need to close this low for this to continue down. We close this higher to attempt to move higher. It's kind of what's happening right now. So unfortunately it doesn't look like we can get a short down. Down to this range. Didn't even retest the range. So obviously the whole idea here is still closing this 5 minute higher after sweeping the bottom. So I'm not seeing this as a spike. If we remain around this level, create a range, can take this up to here, so we can close this on the 5-minute time frame. Do we have a range here? No, we don't. 15-second range. So I'm looking to close out higher. On a 5-minute time frame. Don't really care about this pullback, or if it doesn't close. I know if we sweep one side, most likely we'll break the other, so regardless what happens, move down, stay here. I'll take a long if there is a range before we close that 5-minute high. If we close it now, I can't take any long off of this high until a range gets created. Okay, it looks like a trade's coming up here. Looks like we're failing to hold it aggressively. Didn't create anything here. Failing to hold aggressively. What can we do? If we trade up into this gap, can take that, and I know my next target is going to be all the way down here. Go to 5-minute real quick. Lowest fair value gap. So what do I have here? A good $8 in price action with a stop loss around $5, so only has to go to around here for 1 hour. Okay, it's definitely looking good for a short. And we also swept to close. Okay. So now we kind of have an idea of what it's trying to do long term. Well, so within the next couple of ranges on the 5-minute, it looks like it's trying to cycle higher. Could just completely fail that and break that, but we know it's going to attempt to go lower first. Here into this range. Maybe we don't even get a trade here. Maybe we don't. I could have done as if I was actually anticipating it going lower. Could have just straight up got here, stop loss above this high, try to get that down for 1 hour, which we would have already been out. But I was thinking it looked like we was holding aggressively. Maybe we could have gone higher. A trade we could have taken if it looks like that's available to take. I wouldn't have taken this. I would have waited for. There's a small range here. You can see is on the 15-second. You got high and a low. Wait for that to close. Maybe I would have got in here actually. This is a very, very aggressive trade. Very aggressive. Could have taken that for 1 hour, which is only there. We've not tested into anything yet, so if we have that pull up, I can still take something. I'm just going to be pausing it now until we get into something. Right, here's the trade, here's the next trade. We didn't test into anything. Reason to try and get in this trade here. I would like to do 2 contracts here. Stop loss is bigger than where it would be. I think I'm taking too long to enter this. Or market buyer. I almost made a mistake there. Yeah, I think this is fine. Trying to get this here. It tested into the low. Oh, sorry, that might be my bad. I thought that tested into the highest fair value gap. But we have a pretty okay stop loss here. Anyway. It's pretty okay. We only have to get it down to here, which is actually where it can flip, so that's good. Get that down to where it can flip. What's the 5-minute saying? 5 minutes looks like it can go down. where we've entered is actually the midpoint of that 5 minute order block ungained. So we're basically getting into this trade to gain that, which is nice. The 15-second time frame, we need to close a low here to try and attempt to close these lows. If we close this low, it kind of fouls the holding of this range to go higher. So that would be nice. So our target here right now, in my opinion, is going to be closing this low on the 15-second, which is just closing underneath this candle. Previous candle. Good trade setup. Really good trade setup. The only thing I would like to say about this trade is the stop loss is a bit lower than where I'd want it to be, but it's a lot better than having it here. So that's still going to be our target. Unfortunately, we didn't close it there. So right now it doesn't look too good for the short down, but we have to realize we can still test higher here. We can still test higher here before we go lower. So there's not really much cause of concern here. This is not a scenario where if we close here, I would move my take profit to break even, because this closing is just bringing us up into this range to then try and go lower. So break even there is kind of a stupid idea. Where would I break even though? Right now, what's going to be here once we test this level. We've essentially just entered at the bottom of this order block here, because we did enter the midpoint of this one. Anything to say on the 15-second? Not really anything. Swept both sides, going choppy right now. We need a side to break to have a direction momentarily, right? Not really much of a direction so far. We have an interior high and low. And a more exterior high and low. The interior high and low is going to be this candle and this candle. Exterior is going to be this candle and this candle. So we could sweep this one. Brings us into this gap. Hopefully break below. If it's breaking below, it can bring us down into our take profit. Obviously, if I was recording this at a much earlier time, it'd be a lot smoother. It would move a lot faster. I'm sure there wouldn't be a lot of these sideways price action trades like the one we had down here. It would just be more so one way or the other. Yeah, it still goes sideways at the time we trade, but not as much as this time, right? There's so many ranges where it takes forever. So that trade we was in, it took such a long time before it even decided to break out. A lot of my trades are about 10 minutes at the absolute most. Whereas that one down there took about 18 before it got us out. So, yeah, what I'm thinking here is we close this. It has a potentially pulls back again. Did we close on the 15-second? We closed the one I wanted to close at the start, so this is a good sign. I wouldn't be looking at this one really anyway. I'd be looking at this as the first one. On the 1 minute I'd be looking at this, but this is already telling me this is going to close because we closed the first 15-second low on the 15-second time frame, so this means this is going to close. Now we have a good look. Now we can test up a bit, go down. First target's here. Once we get here, we break even. We've got idea going into this level. Where would I target? Oh, well, I'd target all the way down here for my 2R. So 2R would be here. We could just target the 2R, but for the video I'm just going to do the 1R. Because we might be in this a long time. We also could, to be honest, if you want to, break even now. Actually, I am going to break even. Because we closed this low here, interior low, traded up. It's the same thing if we sweep this anyway. It's going to come up to here and break us higher. So, and we're out of trade anyway. So yeah, that was a good setup, that was a good trade. Like I said, I would personally want to get it down to here. I just think it's going to go lower than this fair value gap. I would have probably taken it to the high of this order block here. So, I think we're going around here, right? I don't really remember. So I would have taken that just to here. 1.5, 1.6. But yeah, good trade there. Failed to hold aggressive, so what's it going to do? It's going to take us down. Can we take another trade here? We could, but we would be going against the fact that we were saying that this can hold us to break us higher. But like I said, because I think it can go a lot lower, I don't really care about this level here. But I'd like to just say, I just wouldn't try anything. I'll just let this do its thing. If it does come up and hold and go lower, I'm fine with missing out on the trade. But I know it's going to try and hold down here. So this is the real trade here, is the long to go higher. We want confirmation of longs holding. So we need to create a range. Right now, my confirmation would be probably closing these highs and trying to get something if it comes back down. Or looking for a 15-minute range, 15-second range to show me it's holding. You know, if you have to remember what I say, having the right stop loss below the previous low, then you should be fine. It's not absolutely going to be fine, but you should be a lot more better off than you was with the smaller stop losses. Not tested into that yet, so we can still go a lot lower. Remember, we can go as low as the low for that range. The order block as well. Now this is the order block that I'm looking at. Close to higher order blocks here. Obviously in this scenario, I was looking at this as the order block once we closed it. Because you can't have the order block behind the high, obviously. So this is where it's the absolute lowest it can get to. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm just going to pause this, unless it gets to it right now in this candle. Which I don't think it's going to. So I'm just going to pause this. Once we get here and create a range, I'll unpause it. Okay, so we failed to move higher, which I should have actually looked at on the 15-minute. This is completely my fault, because I could have just completely anticipated only shorts here, because we failed this high. If we failed this high, doesn't matter if we close it on the 5-minute. I didn't close it on the exterior time frame, and then we're going to close it down. The whole time I was sitting here looking to see if something's going to hold. and I never looked at the 15-second time frame. It's probably because it's late. I wasn't really anticipating or looking at that. But now I know that. We can only issue them down until here. Right? We failed this. We should just continue that ladder down. Higher time frame. There's not even an hourly range. Hourly range is here. This is the interior range to the exterior. We failed to gain this range here, the interior. Interior here. Failed to gain this. Okay, so we should just continue down all the way down to here. 15 minute. We've now closed this. We can anticipate a push higher. It holds off at a low. We can look for an aggressive move down. If not, it fails to hold aggressively. Look for a long up to the bare minimum, the fair value gap, or the inversion fair value gap. So that's what I'm going to be waiting for right now. So looking to push back up into here. Alright, maybe we get something right now where we've closed this now. If it can spike up, not close to higher, we can look for something to take us down. If not, and we do close this, I still think it's okay, but I'd rather wait for this to close now and then take a trade. That's what I'm thinking. This is going to be the last trade I try because it's starting to get late. I've done a couple of trades here. I need to change this to Los Angeles. No, I'm just going to keep it in London because then I'm going to get confused in the morning. Okay, this obviously does look like we could. Here's the thing though, doing something like this, we're not tested into anything. We're kind of just looking at a continuation play off of nothing other than what price action is telling you. Kind of rather wait, but on the 15-second time frame we are just cycling. As you can see, to get 1 hour it has to go lower than, I have no idea what this level is. Oh, it's the order block from earlier. So we can potentially do that, but I'd just rather wait for it to test up. Once it tests up, we can look for something. So I'm just going to pause it until we get up to this point. Okay, this is something I'm kind of liking the look of here. It's kind of just rejecting to get higher. Rejecting to get higher. We're looking to take a continuation play down here. We have a stop loss above the previous higher, not here. Try and get that down for 1R, which is going to be just here. If we try to get a tick higher, we can actually do 2 contracts, which I'm going to quickly substitute for. If it comes up to here. If not, then sorry, I had to pause the recording because I had music playing. Don't want to get copyrighted. Okay, cool. We're in that. We have a stop loss where it should be, and we're targeting the 1R, which is only there. I'm good with this. We've not tested into anything. Not tested into anything. Failed to get up to the retest of here. Holding this range, so we should break down to here. 15 seconds. Not really much cause of concern. Closed. Okay. Okay, this is pretty fine. Yeah, I'll just pause this until something happens. Okay, so we've been in this trade for forever now, for literally since 23. Oh, sorry, since I think it was since 25. It's been 11 minutes and we've gone nowhere. But notice how I've not moved anything, I've not done anything that I shouldn't have done. We've just let it do its thing. We've not got out break even because there's generally not really a reason to get out break even. And we've just chilled out and we're just letting it do its thing. There's no reason to move anything, do anything stupid, miss out on a win. We're just letting it do its thing. The only thing I would love to change in this trade is obviously testing this, because we're just getting it off of a continuation range down. Same setup, same everything. We knew full well where it could go. The fact it didn't, I'm actually very surprised on it not doing. Was definitely expecting to take the loss here. It didn't do so. And now we don't waste it, right? What's the point of break even in now? We sat in it for so long. You know, we've not tested anything to break even off of. Where would I break even? Once we get here, I would break even. Probably actually here. Once we get there and we fail to break that, I'd break even. If we don't get there, then I don't break even. Kind of make decisions off of what you want to do once you get to the level. Do you want to give it a benefit of doubt of waiting to close? Or do you want to just, the moment you tap into it, do you break even? Because that's what I do. I just break even the moment you touch it. But a lot of the times it can tap it, come up, go back down. So you can always wait for the closure, just to confirm that you've closed it and you can continue down and you shouldn't come higher. I just do it because if you tap this, fail it, you sweep it, you break the top, I'm going to take a loss. So what I would do now is I wouldn't break even until that level, because I'm seeing we failed to close this. Did we close on the 15 seconds? So we can anticipate this move higher. Back up. So me break even in here, I'd be break even, and it's probably going to go lower. So it will go a bit higher. Most likely will, because it's not tested anything. And then probably flip down. Doesn't have to, but that's just the pattern. Close, come up, hold, go down. Didn't close it on the 1 minute, we closed on the 15 second. For me, that confirms that we're still going to try and close it. So I'm okay with it coming up to here. I'm okay with that, because it has to. You have to let the stuff breathe. The only difference you could do here is set with a break even, let it come higher, and then get a re-entry when it looks good again. You could wait for this to close and then get this when it comes higher again, or just straight up just get it. But I just don't see the point. I'd rather just be in the same trade. Whatever happens, happens. So what I'm going to do here actually is just pause it, and once we pull back down, I'll come back. Okay, this is once again, it's looking good. I mean, it was looking good anyway, but this is exactly what I was anticipating. This is why I didn't want to move my stop to break even, just because we tapped into this. And why I thought the re-entry there was no point with. Because the thing is as well, your re-entry, if you take a re-entry here, well, your stop loss is here. I suppose that could have been a better position, because I think if we do break up, we are just going to come straight up to here anyway. But this is exactly what you should be doing, is you need to expect those pullbacks before you break even. This closed for me. So if this closed for me on the 15 second, why am I going to break even? Because it's going to come up, hold, and then go back down. So I'm going to wait for that to happen. So right now, what I'm thinking is, if we close this high, I'll move to break even, if we can get out. Because at this point, if we fail to move lower and we close this, then I don't think it's going to go low anymore, and maybe I can still get break even. If not, if we don't close this, then I'm not going to do anything. I'll just leave it here. So those are my two scenarios there. I'm just going to pause it again and just come back when something happens. And we're back, and this is exactly what I want to see. Fighting to move higher, moving down in a nice aggressive way. Compared to how the candle's been moving, this is pretty aggressive. And hopefully closing this. Once we close this, still can't really break even because we can test up and then go down again. So what we could do is just take a partial here, as in not a partial, just exit the trade and then take a re-entry once we get here. It's something we could do. Okay, we're risking 25, so we're trying to get 25. I would personally like just to leave it how it is, but this is something I would have thought about in the moment, just getting out here, taking the re-entry once we come higher again. That's something I would kind of urge you to do, really. As you got to realise, right, we could have taken profit here. We close on the 15-second, so we can move higher and then it will still move down. Because we still need to stay around this point to close up. But I think I'm going to stick this one out until the low here. And there we go, we're out. Good trade, took a very long time, but this is it, you just have to be patient. Not every trade is going to go straight to your take profit. They're going to take time. They're not just going to go to A to B. It's not, okay, we entered a short. Our target's here. Okay, we're out. No, it's going to go, maybe come this, do this, come back up, go down, tease you thinking you're going to get out, and then come down, back up, and then down. It's not pretty all the time. It's a lot prettier at 2:30 because candles move fast. At these times, probably around 5 PM onwards, you get these slower moves sometimes. A lot of these sideways movements that you just have to accept. But yeah, I hope that was a good video. Bit of a long one. I will try and do these more often, and hope you get some value out of this video.